This course is for people who are in recovery from drug or alcohol problems. The current term for that really is substance use disorders. It'll also be helpful for people who want to get additional support for their recovery from other things like gambling or eating disorders. So you might be new to recovery, you might be coming back to recovery, or you might be in recovery for some time now. There's something here for everyone. All right, let's get started. Let's talk about 5 specific ways to ensure and protect your recovery. First, make your recovery your #1 priority. Commit to it daily when you wake up. One way to do that is to remember to acknowledge what you've accomplished when you get up in the morning and say, thanks for another day in the evening. Another thing that's really important is spending your time with other people who don't drink or use drugs or gamble or whatever issue you're working on. And the #1 place to find those people is in recovery support groups like 12-step groups and other support groups. And it is true, meeting makers make it. Here's a little science for you. Did you know that the best predictor of getting into recovery is getting treatment? But the best predictor of staying in ongoing recovery is participation in recovery support groups. Third, know that expression, people, places, and things? It's really true. Your recovery will be stronger if you stay away from people who use, places where you used, and things you used to do when you used. People always say, if you hang out in a barbershop long enough, you're gonna come out with a haircut. It's kind of funny, but it's also deadly serious. If you've quit drinking, but you hang out in bars all the time, it's really likely you're gonna eventually have that drink. Another tip is to really look at, identify, and examine your triggers, things that make you want to drink or use drugs, and make plans to deal with them. Make concrete plans on what you will do, whether it's I will meditate, I'll go for a run, I'll call a friend or a sponsor. You gotta have a plan. Finally, identify what you're grateful for. I know sometimes that's really difficult, but even in the darkest days, there are things to be grateful for. And even if you don't feel grateful, just say it. When I was in pain and struggling with back problems, even though I felt miserable, I forced myself to say, I'm grateful that I can get treatment. Or I'm grateful that it's not also in my neck, it's just my back. Or I'm grateful that I have a comfortable bed to lie in. You can bet I wasn't really feeling grateful when I made myself say those things, but just by saying those things, I started to relax and feel some small bit of gratitude, and they didn't bother me as much. So here's 3 assignments to help you put these things in motion. First, identify and write down 3 people, places, or things where you can get support for your recovery. It could be meetings or people, but you gotta be specific. You gotta write down the name, the phone number, the place with addresses. The idea is to know where to turn and to have it at your fingertips, who to call, where to go for support when you need it. The second assignment is to list 3 events or places where not picking up a drug or a drink will be difficult, where you'll be the most tempted. Then write out exactly how you'll deal with them, especially if they're things you have to attend, like a work function or party or family gathering. Be specific on how you will avoid the temptation or deal with these events or the people at them. This could be things like having the Uber app on your phone in case you need to leave quickly, or taking somebody in recovery with you to support you. Finally, write down 3 triggers. These are feelings, emotions, times, or places where you want to use, and write down how you'll deal with each. For example, it could be that you drive or you walk past your dealer's house, and that's a trigger, but you have to go past it on your way to work or to school. You may decide that from now on, you'll map out and take a different route. And when you walk or drive to school, you don't have to go by their house. Or it could be that there's some specific things that you know make you angry and want to use. And you may decide that when I'm angry, I'll stop and count to 3, or 5, or 10. Or I'll call one of those people I listed in that first exercise. And I keep saying, write it down. Tell someone about it. That's because there's a whole science behind resolutions. For example, did you know that people who make concrete written New Year's resolutions are 10 times more likely to achieve their goals than people who don't? And another study showed that women succeeded 10% more when they made their goals public and got support from somebody, like a friend or a sponsor. So there's the assignments for things to do to protect the gains you've made in your recovery. These examples are just suggestions. Really think about what would work for you.